There we go. Forgot to turn that back on. I am back again today, playing the Greatest Journey. Continuing on where I left last time. Yes, I'm in Kazuma's cabin. Alright, what can I look at before I talk to this man? I can look at this. They went out for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. That's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there'd be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. Blah. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Can't read. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. It's sort of scary. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we go try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. I'm gonna talk to you first. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him out escape? Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Niet! You stay in this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You'll stay.
Yeah.
All right. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure.
That's rude.
To be fair, he did think that I killed a man.
Oh.
Yeah, he thought I killed my best friend.
What? That's your best friend.
They don't know that. I was just... To be fair, Cosima stowed me away. Like, kind of idiotically, now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah. It's kind of why I'm in this whole mess. I was found inside the wardrobe. My best friend and partner just gone before he can even do his thing. I love this bit where I'm just pretending to be the character, talking in character. Just like, I'm very sad right now.
I feel so bad.
Yesterday when I did, or not yesterday, but like when I did the first part of this, I started tearing up a little because I was like, oh my god, my emotions.
So true.
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes? What can I do for you? It's Hosonaga! I recognize that face, but it can't be. Oh, there's blood. It's Hosonaga. It is! I didn't know you were here, respected Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. Again?
Again? Huh? Excuse me?
He's gone undercover as a waiter before, at a restaurant. Apparently there was a lot of thefts and such.
I see.
He also came quite unuseful because he actually nicked a few pieces of evidence from the scene of the crime, because Japan doesn't do that at the moment. Doesn't take evidence, really. They just kind of leave everything as is. You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Excuse me. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. I'm going to talk to you. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asuki-san's bodyguard. Oh! It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asuki-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? Messed up my wording there, but hey, kind of fits, because he's... I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. It's incredible. I don't believe it! Kazuma-sama was assassinated?
Shit, bro.
Obviously, we couldn't give Asugi-san a visible security escort. I'm just gonna make him British. Why not? Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off of him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. Oh. I failed miserably at my assignment. And Asugi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. R.I.P. the homie.
Rip the homie.
Oh no. Inspector. So, if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. Prison permission to investigate. Blah, blah, blah. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved even to touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Oh my. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I have to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you had already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hokusanaka could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I know I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with evidence he needs to persuade the captain.
Use pizza. Either way, I'm going to use them.
Shibbity, 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 shibbity. Okay. Alright, present with R. This is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, isn't it? That's right. To try to stop the cabin steward from opening it and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but... Oof, the paper amulets like this are a part of our culture, Inspector. And I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, isn't it? Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector? apparently, like, looking into it, apparently, according to the official art book, he has a buckwheat allergy, and his family owns a soba shop, which is made from buckwheat, and he just doesn't know.
That sucks. That actually sucks.
So no, so officially in an art book, at least in the art book, he doesn't have a tuberculosis, but it's kind of an odd allergy to the fact that he coughs up blood.
Wait, doesn't buckwheat make your spit slightly red or something? Wait, does it do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he likes eating cherry candies.
Maybe.
And then his spit's red.
Dear, are you alright, Inspector? Yes, sorry. I'm fine.
Jesus, everyone thinks he has tuberculosis and then he's gonna fucking die, but he's not. He's fine. God, I feel bad for everyone else now. They're like, oh no, he has tuberculosis. Fuck, bro.
I mean, if he had tuberculosis, he shouldn't be an inspector because it's contagious. And this is like the Meiji period, Victorian era, like the turn of the 20th century.
What's weird about the Victorian era?
What?
I thought it was fashionable to have consumption, which was tuberculosis, and it's like, bro, why? Why? It's like, oh, the elegant face of death, and it's like, what? Why is this a thing? Why are people so weird?
I hope the VOD gang enjoys ramblings of Rumi-chan, because this type of shit is what happens at like 8 p.m.
Can't.
I was hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and sputtering. I'm usually very good at it, but trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time. It's also sad.
Why? R.I.P. though.
R.I.P. the homie. Asagi-san was a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. Ow. Forcing a cough kind of hurts. I'm gonna try not to do that as often. We're all going to miss you, Kazuma. Oh, shoot.
Everyone's like, fuck, bro. Not only is our friend dead, but our other friend might have tuberculosis. And he's like, no, he just has a buckwheat allergy.
Inspector, can I show you this? What the... Is that a fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge?
This nerd.
I'm not really sure if it's fabled exactly, but...
This fucking nerd, bro. This fucking nerd.
So, you're a genuine student, then? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater.
Bro, this fucking nerd.
What? Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please?
This fucking nerd.
Oh, this is the fucking evidence I need to present. The diary. I've presented 3 things, and they were not the thing I needed, but that's okay. What's that?
A diary.
It's Kazuma's diary.
Is it gonna say some? Is someone gonna say some shit like, "Oh, it's rude to read someone's diary"? There's stuff.
She did that last time! And then frickin' she was like, oh, it's fine if the great detective Herlock Sholmes does it.
And it's like, bro.
It's like, it's like, Susato, we're investigating my best friend's murder. We need to figure out everything he was doing last night. That includes looking through what he was writing.
And because it's the Victorian era,
but
they
no,
wrote literally everything down.
But no, she just, like, tossed me. She knows, like, martial arts, and she threw me.
Rip.
It hurt. This is like the second time. That was like the second time she threw me.
If I had a nickel for every time this tiny child has thrown me, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's kind of sad that it happened twice.
And it's sad that it hurt a lot.
And it's sad that it hurt both times.
To be fair, she did throw me flat on my back, so there's that.
I find that so funny. You just thrown across the fucking room.
She, like, I think it's more like she flipped him.
like, grabbed his arm, flipped him bodily.
It's like that video where this guy is trying to do like a self-defense video, and it's in like this jujitsu thing, and then two people are like having like a match in the background, and then one girl like throws this other dude basically across the room, and he's like, ah! And then
Oh my god.
God, it was so funny.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Why would he write that?
Because he noticed it in the ventilator
Oh yeah, that's
grill.
right. He's a detective. I completely forgot about
No, Kazuma's a lawyer. He just was up at like 2 a.m. or something.
that. I thought he was a detective.
No, this guy is this guy's a detective. Kazuma, the victim, is a law student, lawyer.
Yeah, I get that, but like, thinking about this, that's a really weird thing to point out in a diary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
see, it's weird. See, you said
Speckled band? That is strange.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute. You're very astute, Inspector.
That.
that, yeah.
This. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin.
That's right. So if we could investigate then there, we might be able to work out what this speckled band was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right then. Stretching my neck. Stretching my neck. Ow.
Here we go. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Oh.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Don't burn your fingers.
It's fine. I just fogged up my glasses.
Ah.
It's okay.
'Tis the season that glasses fog up when you walk outside sometimes.
Yeah, it's only if it's really humid, like outside, and then we go inside, and then it's.
Yeah.
I think I may put.
Yes, as long...
That's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, as long as you don't leave the first cabin area. As long as you don't leave the first cabin area. My bad, I read that wrong. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word.
Imagine if there's just a giant shipment of buckwheat on this ship, and they just don't know, and he's allergic to it, and so it's just getting in the air, and he keeps coughing. Maybe that's why.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I promised you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, if I fail to keep Asagi-san safe, this is the least I can do. Thank you. The thing is that it's hard to do Hosonaga and Ryunosuke is that their voices that I've given them are like really similar from what I'm doing right now. So I'm having to do subtle British for Hosonaga and then very British for Ryunosuke.
For Ryunosuke. Subtle British.
I mean, it makes sense because before all this, I believe Ryunosuke was like an English student specifically.
Oh, that's yeah.
So, and this is in a time period when America wasn't prevalent. So the type of English.
It wasn't prevalent on the world stage like it is now.
Yeah. So it was like
it was
so
a little prevalent.
Yeah. It wasn't like a big world power like Britain was. And still is. Yeah. And so basically he'd be learning British English and such, and while he's in England, he'd have more of a British accent.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to do a mix between like a slightly Japanese accent and a British accent. There's no way.
There's no fucking way.
There's no way unless I was like a person who was ethnically Japanese and had a Japanese family and grew up in Britain.
Yeah, there's no way.
Or I was from Japan and I moved to England at some point.
But also, one thing I will say is, like, nowadays people go to the US to learn English. Back then, it was England.
Yeah.
Okay, well, number one, it was closer. Number two, they actually had, like international, like, schools, or schools with a lot of international students.
And, like, with this is a student study tour.
Exactly. The only international students America had was people who immigrated.
Yeah.
And could afford it.
Yeah. It was, like, really expensive.
It's still expensive.
Yeah. It's probably more expensive then because it took longer. Maybe. Anyway.
The reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe don't go to school in the US. It's real fucking expensive.
Expensive.
And also,
expensive.
healthcare sucks here, so maybe
It does.
maybe don't go to America for a super long period of time, or else you're kind of fucked if you get hurt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Continuing on. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright then. Let's see what we can find. And then back. Way. Move. I'm gonna have to figure out something for Hosonaga, because I think he talks a few more times. Like, you can talk to him a few more times, probably. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. He's finally out of the cabin where his best friend died. They thought he was the murderer, so they kept him in there. It's like, why would you keep
keeping him there to continuously stew in his trauma? What the fuck?
Like, even if he did kill him, why would you keep the murderer in the victim's room?
Because then he could tamper with evidence.
Yeah!
That's kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you have guards there, but what if one of them turns their back and they're both talking or something and they...
The guards are, like, outside the door.
No, they're inside. Yeah.
Then, slightly smarter decision, but still, like, bro. You can still, like, move your fingers when you're in
handcuffs.
He could eat, like, if he, like, got up to, like, you know, like, stretch his legs or something, he could easily, like, lean up against something for a moment and then mess with something. Like,
yeah.
Like, actually a really stupid decision there. Like, what the fuck, bro?
It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. He's also not been outside of this room since the boat left the port because his friend smuggled him on board.
This is all
in his suitcase.
You know, a ship.
Yeah.
The rooms can only be so big.
Yeah. So he's been in the same room, going from inside the room to in the wardrobe for like 15 days.
Yeah, like legit. Like, from what I know about ships in this era, like the ocean liners and stuff, from like watching different YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, this is like very accurate to like how big like the first class rooms would be, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it looks like I'm possessing you, dude. I'm possessing you. I'm just a fucking ghost. I'm just a ghost, bro.
Rumi Chan is a ghost. Confirmed!
And I possess you. And I speak.
Yeah. Alright then.
God, imagine the fan art, just like the
ghost.
Faceless ghost just like chilling behind me. This is playing game.
What's good?
What's good?
What's good, Monan? I'm just playing a game. Cool.
Cool.
And then it just rambles about random fact. Random factoid.
I just know a lot of random stuff. I just
ADHD moment.
You do.
Yes, indeed. Kazama-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. And that's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Well, yeah,
really?
You were in like second class or something.
True.
And shoot, what was his name? Who got murdered?
Kazuma.
Kazuma. And Kazuma was, like, you know, sent by the government on a study trip.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna pay for it. They're probably gonna pay for better accommodations so he can, like, study
better
and have
have
space
good
for, like, his materials and stuff like that. So, like
they
it
even
makes
let him
sense.
take his sword with him, which he's not technically supposed to have the sword on board.
Yeah, like, legit. So, like, an ocean liner, like, the first, like, deck or two, depending on how big the boat was first class. The second class rooms were probably, like, 3 decks, and then the last few decks before the boiler rooms was the third class, rooms. Literally, the third class rooms are, like, our dorm room right now, but with, like, 6 bunks. Yeah. Second class was probably as big as...
You mean like the space between this wall and that wall?
Second class was probably closer.
For like third class, what I mean.
Oh yeah,
the space of this just where our beds are.
Where we're sitting right now.
Oh my god.
That was third class.
How?
Well, to be fair...
How did they fit 6 bunks?
Okay, it was also, like, maybe only a little shorter than this, and, like, they would be, like, attached to the wall, like, kind of almost like a prison setup, honestly, in terms of, like, how the bunks were, like, attached, or like, set up in the room. But, like, and then, like, the second class, it was kind of also, it was also a bunk system, but, of course, like...
Bigger?
Yeah, it was a bit
nicer.
It was a bit bigger than this. It had like a little desk area between the beds, and then like the beds were like more like a box in like a train or something equivalent to that. And then like it had curtains for like privacy and stuff, so you could like sleep in private. And then of course the first class
is just
like
by
what
yourself.
Kazuma was in.
Yeah. Interesting little history lesson for the VOD gang.
Of course, this was some ships. Not all ships were set up like this. Like, some ships, it was like the Titanic, for example, second class was literally, like, a 2-bed system, where it was just, like, a family in there, and it was, like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, like, it was the same size as the standard second class, but it was 2 beds instead of 4.
Interesting. Really? That must be awful.
It was very luxurious.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Third class was, like, 4 beds instead of 6.
Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose, like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for nearly 2 weeks already. For 2 weeks already? Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. He's just been in a wardrobe the entire time. Oh no. What's this? Ship section. This looks like the plan of the SS Beria that shows each deck. Look. The Beria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering! Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, it's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes. They're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. That's not quite accurate, but kind of the same. They're not floating, they're just very, very big pieces of land that dip underneath the ocean and then come up. Well, I suppose so. And the reason why the ship floats is because it's hollow. If it was solid metal, it would sink. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and blah, blah, blah. I'm having trouble reading my own lines.
That's not good.
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail on about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment.
I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san. Even to a sailor. Anyway, this night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably, that means there was nothing to report.
Let me just take a sippy. Have my water. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Can I talk to you? Look at the door.
And that's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong?
I was thinking of making a run for it. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me.
Well, I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there.
No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Let's talk to him. Burly man. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You stowaway murderer! That wasn't a good start, was it?
All right, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but I could perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class lady's maid?
How dare you? Oh.
Well, you seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman, beef stroganoff. Stroganoff. Phew. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Boreas steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you?
If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Osaki's currently occupied?
Susato-san, did you understand that?
It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes.
Oh, no. No, you were right the first time.
Genius.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes. It's tantalizing.
Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Forest Island. That was harsh.
Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmic's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone in there.
Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business. You're acting suspicious, sir. Are you on watch here all of the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Net! Susato-san, did you understand that?
It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't find any strange noises? Or sense anything that was wrong in some way? I said no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as the English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Have to change your voice, because I think I did it wrong the first few times. Definitely. Okay, just remembering the thingies. What's this?
A trap for catching mice.
Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it, Naruto-san. The trap will snap on your fingers.
Really? But... I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor guy.
No.
All he's had is leftovers from Kazuma's food. Man is hungry. Somebody give him food.
It doesn't even have to be like from the dining room.
Just give him something to eat, please. If he's desperate enough to try and snatch the cheese from a mouse trap, he's hungry.
Oh, you. I'll find a snack for you later.
Also, even ocean liners, unlike all boats really, would have a cat, like a ship cat, like a few, like at least on an ocean liner as big as this, would have a few cats on board to like, you know,
Eat the things.
eat the mice. You know what I mean? And if mice are such a problem on the ship that they're having to set mouse traps, they would probably get like at least 5 more cats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love cats. Cats are neat.
Cats are interesting little buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna eat Rookie.
But yeah, that's why like sailors are like, oh, a dog may be a man's best friend, but a cat is a sailor's best friend.
Yes.
It's because they eat the mice and the vermin that cause disease on long voyages.
Mm-hmm.
So even black cats, they don't care. As long as a cat is a cat, and they see all cats as good luck.
That makes sense.
Maybe that's why cats are so important in Japan. Because it's an island, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of seafaring people.
What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop. This I have to see. What are you doing, Narahata-san? You mustn't touch it! But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I just wish everything would stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes. The ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Oh. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Blah, blah, blah. I need a bit of water. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Off their hinges. Blah, blah, blah. I have to figure out how to do his voice again. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Please, wait. Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Wow. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out! All of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsley Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes.
You've heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. There we go, there's his voice. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there would appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Yes. The case just shook.
Leave now. Otherwise, I'll call the steward.
So this is Cosima's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something.
No! Oh! I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now!
This is going terribly.
We're not getting anywhere here.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help.
He's in the closet.
He's in the wardrobe. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Wait. Examine. Is he?
He's actually in the thing.
What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin! Get out!
Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No!
What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott.
Ah, I see. It wants us to do this.
Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only to address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh. And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
No, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Lyulph, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Would you like to witness it? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Would this man be any more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? What the heck, man? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right. And Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but once I read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence. We need to make more water. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Lyulph, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? Excuse me. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Oh, Narada-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' quick deductions with my own eyes.
That was a great deduction.
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What?
What an ineffable twaddle.
Twaddle?
Oh, yes. I've read about it countless times in the adventure of Sherlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Lyulph's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well, then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly do with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You're on the verge of using these shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper. In particular, the fascinating front-page article, which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Blah, blah. Yeah. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noticed the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have the prosperity to let their eyes astray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently, and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'éolé betrays you. Hold on. I'm going to actually Google translate that because I want to know how to pronounce that. French.
Coup d'œil. Coup d'œil.
Coup d'œil betrays you. There we go. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. That is your wrongdoing. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. I do not know how to pronounce that. Elemensky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Is he doing this on purpose, I wonder? Like, is he doing this so we can, like, see what we do with that? See what we do with his deduction? Because, like, some of that felt right, but other parts of it just felt dumb. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Could you come over here a moment? I need to get my ring so I can actually do the mouth thingy, the pipe. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, here's the newspaper article. I think we had the same deduction before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall a discussion earlier. At the time, I believe I told you. Told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Rowland does look a lot more like this man than you do.
That's not the point.
And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case will appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from that case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes.
This whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mrs. Otto.
It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. Yeah, he was most definitely doing that on purpose. There's no way he wasn't. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Wait. Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... Huh? Where did... What the... Huh? I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we're finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction? Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Lyulph, obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using these shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Let me get a sip. Let's sip of water to help my throat. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. Doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Lyulph either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san. Let's see if that helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by looking at taking a long, hard look at Mr. Lyulph. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest to your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Lyulph really going to use those enormous shears for? Just set the... Oh. What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No. The color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Lyulph's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. I'm going to present this. Yes! Verge of cutting away those golden locks. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. Blah, 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 blah. I can't speak. The question then begs this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. No. What did he say? Not strictly
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman.
Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose that's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now.
Yes.
Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. R. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You hit the nail right on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear that we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolona Pavlova. Ah! What? Oh my god, are you okay? You almost stabbed yourself in the head.
Thank God he had that hat. God damn.
That's a woman in disguise.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
50% disguise.
Yeah. Just big mustache.
Pretty young woman.
Pretty.
She's like 15, so she's very pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty. You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova.
Wait, why is she in disguise if she's so young?
Because she ran off from Shanghai. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Let me just sip my water. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing the most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see? And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of a chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something here that shows that what this woman is up to. Oh. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those the real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Are you calling me beautiful? To some people, maybe. You've a very nice face. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. Present. Ouch. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you. Oh! I'm trying not to yell very loudly. Ichi, 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 ichi. I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone. And I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Extremely lonely. All right, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that here as exits some reason you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your killer's Kudeo betrays you once again. We need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed the tact with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open a case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss McFlowers certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be some other reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookshelf. This? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. Passengers must not keep Oh wait, that's not a header. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. That was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear! I'm sure the punishment will be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? What do they say about this? It's a metal door, the same as in Kazuma's cabin. Yes, and the rather slim bolt is the same as well. Well, if Miss Pavlova was actually glancing over here at the door instead of the bookcase, that would suggest a desire to run away from this cabin. Maybe. I believe it might have been this. Yes. That. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Oh, it's moving. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time. But no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case is the last item listed inside as forbidden inside the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. I can't do both of their voices at the same time, unfortunately. Possession of a prohibited animal. Blah, 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 animal. Deduction complete. Elementary. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. No, I'm not Crimsley Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later, that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Burya is a huge steamship with a fast crew. Could she have really snuck aboard without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself. So no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into a questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and a fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I know that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Blah, blah. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Isn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Not again. Your hands! What again? What? How? How do you keep doing this without me noticing? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When? And why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I've got to find out what the speckled band Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. All right. I'm going to examine your room first. Let me see. Oh, don't touch! Huh? I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How do you say? Forbid it! Oh, sorry. As well you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have. I was literally gonna check the notice board. That is all I was looking at. What? Poking around in the young lady's private belongings? Neither shall I allow it. Hypocrite! It's not like I was looking through anything that was, like, of hers that actually belonged to her. I was looking at the notice board. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died, he was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest? Or perhaps the steam engine exploded? Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened?
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry. But all I can think about last night was what had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, have you? Haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition, when you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine! I needed to live! I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet only gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I had stayed, it would have killed me.
So you ran away to protect yourself?
Yes. And the crew of the ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they say I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Burya stopped by no port last night. Oh, that's it, of course! So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel.
What? Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sham once said, I can never resist a touch of the dramatic. It's dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once sent about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Now, about that friend of yours. So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell! Don't tell any of the crew! If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? No. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversary strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd really eat your friends? I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Present. Can I show you this? I'm actually a university student from the Empire of Japan, you see. That means nothing to me. No, why would it? Mr. Naruhodo, if you're determined to flaunt your Yume badge, at least use a Japanese person who might recognize it. Mrs. Otto, can I show you this? Maybe later. Oh, I could show Inspector Hosonaga too. Oh my god. Shit, hold on. Oh, fuck. Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? I don't know. I don't know anything. Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo, you're frightening the poor girl. Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then, a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean anything to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? Perhaps.
No. I don't know anything.
Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott.
Yes? What? Wow, she's fast.
Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please.
All right, I will come now. What? You must leave now.
Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us.
Yes, please, don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott.
Get out! Passenger said out! Or do you want me to throw you out?
Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown out into the passageway outside. Ow. To be continued. Yes, I would like to save my progress. Ah. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what this speckled band might be. We did manage to investigate it all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door.
Just grab something real quick. Alright. Cabbage, fried goldfish crackers. Yes, why not? He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Keep it. I want my... Yeah, my fish. He's completely disappeared. When did he do that? Just slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. It's Cosmos. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardroom inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Hosanaga's managed to uncover any new clues. Yes, we should probably find him and ask. That book on the top of the table there. It's really huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? I think we've already read this. Hmm. Oh, I can't open it. It's locked. I can't open it.
No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape.
Gosh, she gave me a really stern look from when she said that.
I really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin.
What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, Oh, no, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I'll show you where the lobsters spend winter. Understand? Understand?
Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san.
Right. Back. Oh, nom. Looks like they're still investigating in here.
Naruhodo-san, what are you eating?
Some chips. They're very good. The sailor gave me some.
Oh. Yes, on that subject. Wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed.
What do you mean, unscathed?
Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the cabin about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you.
Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Rules. So, by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova had broken the rules.
She called it her friend, didn't she?
Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as of yet.
I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the cabin. Inside the traveling case inside our cabin.
A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf.
They were all over the place when we looked around, if you remember.
Oh, yes. And you tidied them up, didn't you?
You have to look after the ships properly. Unruly behavior in the cabin leads to damage.
But it really wasn't me who knocked them over.
Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy.
So it's clear that these letters were written, the ink that somehow spilt on the floor. And they spell that Russian word for wardrobe.
It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there.
But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled my name out, don't you think?
Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word, in Russian.
which begs the question of who did write it. There's nothing on this table at all. Plate and cutlery all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. This is where Kazuma-sama spent his final moments, writing in his diary. "1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. It looks like some sort of speckled band just dangling from the ventilator grill. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. So this ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on that. But she seemed as baffled as we were. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same thing about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Let's talk to you first. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonaga did. But no Japanese, was it? Later I will roll him into ball and throw him in the cold room.
The fuck?
He's angry because Hosonaga let us investigate.
Bruh.
He's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Oh my god, what happened to you? Ah, you're back. Inspector! What happened to you? Your faces... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. And a few bruises, but nothing to worry about. Meatball bear, maybe? When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if you had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. apologies for eating, but like, goldfish baked are good. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please! What self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation here been fruitful? If I'm honest, there's little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, you tell us, Inspector, please! What is this new information that you have, Inspector? It's this. The Burya's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh. Cosima's post-mortem report. Cosima-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae. That's what's written in this report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there were no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck would induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Oh, Cosima. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to let you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? I have new evidence. Oh, Mr. Shams was here, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Blah, blah. Actually, now that you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish! As was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass, do you see? Oh, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. But how could Mr. Shams know it was shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Suzada-san? Well... Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of brownish red then. A sort of brownish red then.
Yes, a little like the colour of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Cosmo's shoes as they scuffed the floor? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you.
Inspector, you look exhausted.
Oh, no. I feel terrible that I failed to protect Azuki-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You are his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a very heavy head ever since I woke this morning. Oh, heavy head. That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. But I'm no.
Look, Harusan. Seaman Strong Enough is gone.
Strong enough?
The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us.
Ooh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Tra-la-la. Do you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. I did it the great detective way. I'm trying to figure out how to sing this Sholmes, because I'm pretty sure that's Sholmes, considering he said detective way.
This caroling. I know that lark-like voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's go inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can still investigate.
Definitely. Before that stringy knot Kerman comes back.
It's strong enough, not stringy knot. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look.
Wow, you never know who's going to turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
I did it the great detective way. I don't know how to sing it. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply...
Or he's in extremely high spirits.
Yes, times I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky her luck was about. Excuse me. I saw the horse stood tall, and I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! What is it? You want to fight? Sholmes fell over. Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing. I was just about to reach the climatic finish. Sorry, I never thought you were going to stop, so I figured now was as good a time as any. I nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks! All right, I get the picture. Now, could you please put those fists away? I'd rather not get punched. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh, yes, the ship's log. And did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted.